Hello, hello, hello. Good evening or good afternoon. Sorry. My clock's already off. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now, Kentucky. We do have some stronger to severe storms starting to kind of get going inside of the Commonwealth here. So we wanted to begin our live coverage here, at least for the one cell that's down there toward Tompkinsville, Kentucky right now. And of course, we'll talk about the rest of the line and kind of talk about what's happened so far today. And of course, what we're expecting to see as we go ahead and going ahead into the evening, I should say. Goodness gracious, I couldn't get that out. So anyway, as you're coming into the broadcast, if you wouldn't mind, tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen there. That gets this video shared out to your news feeds. That way your friends and family can view it and get up to date on what to expect. Also helps us to grow as well. So we would appreciate you guys doing that. And hopefully you can help us spread the information out here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our main screen as you guys are coming in here. I know it's going to take a few moments. Make sure you say hello. Let me know where you guys are coming from. I know you're going to automatically ask, how is your front yard looking? We promise you we'll get into some locations here in a little bit. Let's get through the actual information. Let's get over here and see kind of what the radar is looking like, so on and so forth. Also want to point out at the bottom portion of the screen, for some reason, we're having a problem with the alerts coming through. They are working on it right now. Maybe he just fixed it. I'm not sure. Maybe they just randomly started working again. I don't know, but at least they're working. So we do have the alerts actually working correctly there. We are live on all platforms, by the way. Almost forgot to mention that. Let me pull this back up once more here and make sure this we're on the right one. Okay. So right now in Kentucky, we do have one severe warning, and we've been watching this cell for a little bit as it's been in Tennessee, just kind of keeping a loose eye on it here. It's not really rotating or anything, so again, no rotation there with that. It does look like a pretty classic kind of marginal severe thunderstorm that's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 4/4 size tail. Now, the interesting thing about this cell is that is kind of on the southern side, obviously, and it's pretty much going to be alone. So we have to keep an eye on this one just to make sure it doesn't do anything crazy here. That's why I wanted to go ahead and go live here with you guys. So that way, if something does happen, we can kind of be live here with you and let you get kind of give you an early heads up. So again, we're kind of watching that one pretty closely. I was watching this cell that just tracked through northern Harlan County, going into Bullitt County, now trying to head out toward Taylorsville and getting up toward Shelbyville. But this storm cell here it continues to show signs of weakening, of cold pulling. So I really have no concern for this cell. Now, I will tell you, because I live in Radcliffe, I just went through this cell here. It is loud. It is a little bit rowdy. It does sound a little scary because the rain's coming down so heavily with some decent wind gust with it. But this is just your classic summertime thunderstorm right here, where it's just a downpour, some nice winds, really no dangers kind of presented with that, unless you're on the road driving like an idiot. And then, of course, you have some dangers presented with that. Okay, that's kind of those two lines. By the way, it is. Let me go ahead and get out the drawing pin here from WeatherWise. It is these two areas that should be on the more severe side because they are in front. They are these storms right here are going to tank the environment down. I haven't looked at it yet, but we'll watch it as it kind of. Sorry, I was doing some analysis before we came on here, but we'll kind of keep an eye on it, and you can see kind of what the rain showers are already doing if you look up into Indiana there on the kind of storm fuel screen here. All that blue that you're seeing into southern Indiana is negative storm energy. And all that blue you're seeing into Tennessee is also negative storm energy. And this is why storms have kind of struggled here. Not necessarily because of us having any activity. Obviously, besides this morning up into the northern portions of the Ohio River, it's been a pretty quiet day for much of Kentucky. It's just been muggy, cloudy, a little bit warm out there. But it's not really our storms that are causing our environment to stabilize. It's this down here in the Tennessee. So this has been the problem. Well, let me rephrase that. This has been our saving grace. But if you're looking for severe weather, we're going to play devil's advocate a little bit here because it's a little bit easier to explain when you're coming from that sort of perspective. Okay, it's this area down here because we have obviously the warm moist air wants to come down or come up from the Gulf, right? That's where we get all of our warm and moist air from typically, and it wants to come up and shoot up here into Kentucky, the Ohio Valley, so on and so forth. The problem is this big orange circle here of storms and rain showers into Tennessee are blocking it. And it's having a problem getting up and fueling these storms to be able to bust the cap. The cap is a capping inversion above our heads, about a mile up or so. And what it is it's a slightly warmer layer than the layer that's below it. And so when the storm particles and parcels go to rise, and go through those cloud bases and create and root a storm while they're getting blocked and sent back down and disintegrated before the storm can even root. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these storms become massive rain showers right now, at least, because they're going up, they're trying to shoot their updrafts up into the air. And I'm getting real nerdy here for you, but basically they're trying to go and they're getting blocked and sent back down, almost like if someone's playing volleyball and they're going to go send a ball over the net and it just gets slammed right back. It's kind of the same thing that these storms are doing. They're trying to go up and they're trying to root and they're trying to get going because there's plenty of wind. God, the wind energy out there is insane. I mean, you can hear it for yourself out there. Even before the storms arrived, the wind energy is insane. So we're getting a little bit lucky today because, again, our friends down in Tennessee are basically putting up a big net catching any of the storm fuel and pretty much bogging it down because they're having some massive sloppy showers down there. Now, there is this line back out here toward Western Kentucky, so let's talk about this for a second. If you're just now hopping on, you haven't missed too much, by the way. Let's talk about this line for a second because this line is technically a part of the main front. So once this line comes through, you'll actually notice temperatures are going to drop pretty drastically. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and turn on the METARs here from WeatherWise, and I'll bet you the temperatures behind this line are a lot cooler than the temperatures in front of this line. Let's check and see. Let me make sure you guys can see this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So, again, 74. I know it's kind of hard to read because they're very small. I wish they would let us turn the font size up on these, but I don't think that's an option yet. 74, 73, 70 in front of this line. At the line, 57, 56, 54. Behind the line, 50, 47, 47, 46. So when this line comes through, it's dropping temperatures by about 20 degrees almost immediately. This is a very strong cold front coming through, and it might actually lead to some snowflakes tomorrow for Eastern Kentucky, if you can believe that. It wouldn't be anything crazy. It would just be a few flakes. But you can kind of get the point there. So again, you kind of look out here into Eastern Kentucky, by the way. This is almost backwards. Eastern Kentucky is almost always colder than the rest of the state. But it's 83 degrees out there in Prestonsburg, 82 degrees out there in Pikeville, 77 degrees in London. Now, why is that? Look at where the rain is into Tennessee. I'm going to turn this off a little bit because there's a lot going on the screen. We're going to turn that off real quickly. And we're also going to turn off this watch because for me, this is too much happening on the screen. Okay, so we're going to turn off the watches here as well. Now, why is it that Eastern Kentucky is warmer than Western Kentucky? Isn't that a little bit backwards? That's true. But if you look at what's happened here, once again, the rain showers into Tennessee has blocked that warm air from getting up there. There's still warm air, obviously, 72, 71 degrees. But 72, 71 degrees is a lot different than 82, 81 degrees over here where it's been empty. Right? And so that is why we, along with the NWS, has constantly told you guys that Eastern Kentucky was the kind of the more bullseye here. But again, if you're looking at the radar, you're seeing a lot of rain. And there's been a lot of clouds also involved. So the severe threat, in my opinion, guys, I'm going to be quite honest with you. Okay? Much like the last two, I think this has been kind of a bust. All right? And that's always a good thing because it feels like the last few years in Kentucky, it feels like our state has kind of been the bullseye, especially in March. Our state has kind of been the bullseye for severe weather, floods, so on and so forth. Remember last year, I called it I'm going to use a cuss word here, so Pete, warning. It's not a terrible word, but I called it the week from hell last year. Remember that, where we had all of those biblical rains that led to some insane flooding. It even led to Thunder over Louisville eventually being, canceled for, I think, the first time ever. I don't know if it's ever been canceled before. And in the middle of that week, we had 2 mini tornado outbreaks. Thinking back to the year before that, we had statewide 70-mile-per-hour winds, even without any thunderstorms. It was just a vacuum of winds. So I consider ourselves a little bit lucky this March because we've gotten close several times. Heck, Southern Indiana on every single storm system has been the bullseye. I do feel bad for our friends in Indiana, but unfortunately, we know how that feels during the month of March. So if anyone out there is going to get mad about a storm system busting, you can cry in a mirror because the last few years in March in Kentucky, it's been very, very rough. So we will absolutely take it. Now, that said, the severe weather potential is not zero. I just think there's really I really don't see a world where we get a tornado in Kentucky today. I've said this since the very beginning, matter of fact. Let me go back here. I want to show you guys this. From the very beginning that I even brought this thing up, which was March 8th, so that was 3 days ago. from the very beginning of this storm system, kind of its life of us communicating it to you. Low tornado potential, the main threat, damaging winds. And we've kind of maintained that. This is our forecast, the first ever forecast we put out for this event. And again, the main thing that we put in here is damaging winds. Yeah, damaging winds or isolated tornado, right? So even since the beginning of this, we've been kind of telling you guys, even when we posted this, by the way, we said, hey, this is damaging wind. This is the tornado risk from the AI model, but damaging risks are the main risk. So again, damaging winds, I should say, are the main risk. Sorry, that's a lot of words to say. So again, it's ever since the onset of this, we have been saying this is not a tornado threat event, despite what the kind of the SPC maps kind of showed, and honestly, those weren't even that high. Just I think people are reading them incorrectly still because they are newer. So again, just want to reiterate because still been a lot of anxiety about tornadic activity, and yes, a tornado is still possible, but I can't stress to you enough. I really don't think that's going to happen. And if it does happen, I think we lack quite a few things to support anything significant. And the number one thing being that for spin to really occur and for tornadoes to really occur and get strong or significant or violent, there needs to be a turn of the winds as you go up into the atmosphere. So again, we don't just exist at the ground. Our world exists all the way up, right? And so those storms also exist all the way up. So for anything to spin at the ground, it has to have different directions of winds as you go up into the atmosphere. Right now, and throughout pretty much most of the day and going into tonight, our winds at each layer of the atmosphere are pretty much generally going the same direction. So that screams to us forecasters that this is more of a straight line wind damage event potentially. And yes, you can still get a tornado or two from a situation like this, but they should be short-lived. They should be brief, short-lived, and they should be non-significant. Now, the SPC, I believe, still has a significant risk potentially into eastern Kentucky. No, they have now removed that. So now we are finally on the same page as the SPC. It's back down to a very generic 2% tornado risk here with a non-significant hatch placed. You can see the significant hatch is placed out here. And again, the reason for that is they have spin. So when they go up into the atmosphere, their winds are actually turning as they go up. So that allows the supercell or QLCS event to actually spin a little bit. So again, that's a difference for us. We've maintained that throughout literally the first time we ever even mentioned this storm system to you. So I wanted to again just kind of urge you all to take a breath. I really don't think there's a violent tornado threat for Kentucky tonight or significant. Or heck, I think we get through the night, in my eyes, without even seeing a tornado. Again, I can't say it's a 0% because again, there is a lot of wind energy out there. You go out there and you'll hear it. I mean, it's screaming out there, and not only is it screaming out there, but it's screaming above our heads. It's moving at about a speed of 90 mile per hour above our heads. So that's where we get the damaging wind threat from. Back to these lines, however, I do want to point out once again for those of you that may be tuning in, there is a severe thunderstorm warning for Tompkinsville to Burkesville. This is your very marginal severe thunderstorm, 60 mile per hour winds, quarter size tail, a classic summertime severe thunderstorm for Kentucky in the middle of March is what that cell is in Tompkinsville and Burkesville. So no need to panic there. Just remain indoors. You'll be okay. Remain off the roadways and you'll be okay. As for this main frontal line back here, because of the rain in Tennessee, because of the thunder showers that we're now seeing throughout central Kentucky, we no longer expect this line to be severe. I also made this clear in the post. I think I made it about 3 o'clock Eastern time, so about an hour and a half ago. I really don't think this line will be severe. I think I mentioned it this morning as well. And now, it's not a 0% chance, of course. Can't ever say it's not going to be severe. But in my opinion, I think this line will likely begin to struggle. As a matter of fact, we're already seeing evidence of that. So if we look at this line and kind of just show you here, let me go ahead and pull up the drawing tool once again. If you look right here, see that little just scatter of what we think is light rain? That's an outflow boundary. So that means that these storms are either cold pooling or they're outflowing. But either way, that means that they are weakening. Okay. Now, the only portion of this line that does have the potential to produce anything stronger or severe is probably going to be this northern side of the line. But you have to remember, this morning, storms went through the Ohio River and they went into southern Indiana. So this portion of the line should also begin to weaken. So again, everything that we're looking at here is screaming to us, hey, this is not a big deal. This is not a big deal. Now, I will say this. Again, I know there's going to be a lot of people like, gosh, you guys got another one wrong here. And sure, go ahead, do that, fine. But I will say this. If we were dealing with just this one frontal line here and didn't have all this crap in front of it, this would be a very serious, very serious line of storms producing 70 to 80 per hour winds. So we're very thankful that we kind of escaped today, because if not, we would have been nearly in the same boat that Illinois, Oklahoma, Iowa was in last night, where they all saw those insane winds. Now, we would have avoided the hail. By the way, someone recorded a near 8-inch hailstone up here toward where they saw a big tornado last night. Just kind of an FY. Just that was insane to kind of see there. But again, guys, you guys kind of see it for yourself. There's too much rainfall here. Again, the severe potential is not 0%, but I would say it's very low. Maybe like, I think we could see maybe 2 or 3 severe warnings in the state tonight. We've seen 2 so far. Of course, this one down here toward Burkesville, and then we saw one out here toward Henderson this morning. So we may see 2 or 3 more, mainly going to be for 60 to 70 per hour winds, probably closer to 60 now that the environment's worked over. And we could see a couple of quarter-sized hail reports, because I think these storms may be a little bit more elevated. I do want to check in and see if that's updated yet on the negative storm energy just yet. I don't think it is, though. No. But you can also see this. So the better energy for storms, the better fuel for... I know this is really hard to see. I'm sorry about that. But the better energy for storms is out in eastern Kentucky. But look at what these storms have to go through before they get to eastern Kentucky. There's no fuel out here. That's all negative energy. So these storms are going to be really worked over by the time they even get to what should be the better side for storms for Kentucky today, which is the eastern half. So again, that's kind of why I wanted to go live here too. Again, we do have the severe cell we have to watch. The AI is trying to say that it does have a decent wind risk on it. Let's see if it has any tornado risk on it. Not really. That's about a 1%. So again, it's showing, hey, the AI is showing, hey, this may be producing some severe winds. Tornado wise, not likely. Hail wise, it may be producing some quarter-sized hail as well, which is exactly what the warning is for. So again, not a crazy day. I think we got a little bit lucky here in Kentucky today, and I don't think anybody will be complaining about that too much, except for those weirdos that really like to see violent weather for whatever reason. Now, me personally, I like to see a good thunderstorm as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. I do enjoy hearing thunder roll, but of course, I don't want anyone get hurt or anything like that. But I don't think that's the case tonight. Now, I will say this: if you're in this red box here, I'm going to pull up our forecast that we put out just a little bit ago. If you're in the red box, which we've already posted this, so if you can't see it very well, you can go back and look at our post and kind of zoom in and do all those things. But if you're in that red box and you're in like a mobile home or RV or anything like that, I still recommend that you should be able, or that you should find, a shelter in case you need to go to it at a moment's notice, or something with a sturdier structure, because again, even straight line winds of 60 per hour is going to cause an impact for structures as weak as mobile homes, RVs, so on and so forth. So just keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the radar. I'll get to a few of your questions now, but again, guys, I'm not going to go into crazy detail on everyone's backyard, because I just don't think the threat is all that great so far today. And I did see a couple of posts. I'm not sure exactly who it was, because the algorithm, I just kind of scroll through. But I did see a couple of posts. I want to clarify this, because I think context is very important. A couple of posts tried saying the severe threat will go until about 11 p.m. tonight. That's absolutely not going to be the case, because once we get to about sunset, which I believe is about 7 o'clock, that storm fuel really just tanks. And at the same time, we have all this rain showers and all these thunder showers already moving through. If we see any warnings beyond 9 p.m. tonight, I would be utterly shocked. So I wanted to clear that up, because I know I got a couple of DMs about that. And then I ended up seeing the post as I was scrolling on Facebook. So I just wanted to make sure I cleared that up for you guys, that I don't see this threat lasting that long. Okay, what I'm going to do now, after I look at this, okay. All right, that is updated. I want to see them. All right, yeah, there's just not really a whole lot of fuel out here. Now, when it comes to wind shear, there's a crap ton of that. And that's why all of these winds are just screaming out here. What I'm gonna do now is kind of zoom this in a little bit, and I'm gonna skip out on Western Kentucky, because again, I don't think Western Kentucky is gonna see any severe weather. We already saw your guys' energy are pretty tanked. So what I'm gonna do is kind of zoom in a little bit more, get as many city labels as we can here. Please know where you're at on a map. It will make this a lot easier. Okay, I love you all, but I want to be clear with that. It will make this a lot easier if you know where you're at on a map. So I think at this point, what we're looking at is the potential for a couple of strong to severe storms kind of maybe in this orange circle area. Okay, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Everywhere else, you've either been worked over by rain showers or thunderstorms that you've already seen, or the rain showers or thunderstorms in Tennessee has blocked the fuel from getting to you. Now, doesn't mean it's a 0% chance, but I would say like this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 3%, maybe 3% in this area that's not circled, and maybe like a, I don't know, 7%. And those are like the odds that you may see a severe warning. So again, overall, it's very low. But it should favor the eastern side of Kentucky more at this point because they've had more of an opportunity to warm up and destabilize today. So I'll get to a few of your questions at this point here, and we'll keep kind of tracking this. I still want to stay on here with you and just keep tracking this Tompkinsville cell heading toward Albany. Again, please know where you're at on the map, right? So the circled area is the area to favor any severe thunderstorm warnings tonight for damaging winds. That non-circled area may be a stronger cell or two, but I really don't see a severe warning happening. I promise you it would help answer a lot of questions a lot more efficiently. Godsmack on the red platform, thank you very much. Again, please know where you're at on the map. I just saw someone ask about Lebanon. It's not included in the circle, so that would mean that I don't really expect severe weather for you tonight. I'm not picking on that person, but just providing an example, by the way. I've not had anything at Katie's. No, once again, Western Kentucky, there's really not an opportunity for you to see severe weather because the Tennessee rain showers have pretty much blocked your storm fuel. Do you think that cell tracks to London? Probably just south of it. It'll be close. But you see, there's quite a bit of rainfall in front of it, and this rainfall is probably not reaching the ground. But what it's doing is cooling the atmosphere above the ground and creating that capping inversion that we talked about. So again, even that cell is probably going to die down. I'd be kind of a surprise. If any portion of that cell continues on, it would be the southern portion, which would likely track toward Whitley City and Barberville, going south of London. April, thank you very much. Also, sorry if I sound really like depressed right now. I promise I'm not. I am just tired. This is the third time in the last 3 weeks where I have sacrificed sleep for there to not be any storms, and it's getting old. It's getting old. But I am thankful still that we get to avoid this because again, the last, I swear, I hate to say this word because the conspiracy theorists will come out, but I swear ever since COVID, that time frame. We have seen a spike in severe weather in Kentucky. So any chance we can get for a forecast to bust, even if it means we're wrong, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. How long will it last once it hits? So these storms are moving pretty quickly, so it wouldn't be a long-lasting thing. We're working triple time. What about Maysville? Once again, in that area where they could see a severe thunderstorm, damaging winds the main risk. Same thing for Lawrence County. Will the rain help lessen the severity in Nicholasville this evening? Yes, it's helping everywhere. And now over the last, let me put this into motion here real quickly because I want to see this. I want to see what happened here. So this was back at 3:30. So this is 1 hour ago. Look at how empty the radar was. Look at it now. So we're just seeing a bunch of rain. Again, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of those July days where we hear a lot of wind coming through, right? And it's hot, muggy outside, and then there's just some downpours that just scatter all over Kentucky. That's kind of what this system reminds me of. And systems like that really struggle to produce severe weather because the rain showers really just cool everything off. And when you cool everything off, you lose the moisture, you lose the heat, and at that point, when you lose moisture and heat, you lose instability. Is hail still a possibility? Hail was never really a possibility in my eyes. I don't even think I mentioned it on that post. If I did, it was very brief. Yeah, very low hail potential. The one thing we did miss, obviously, is the winds. But I'm telling you, if we just had this one main line here and not all this crap in front of it, we would have seen some ridiculous winds today. I mean, heck, before the storms even arrived, like, for example, in Lexington, their airport reported a 54-mile-per-hour wind gust with no storm around it. So, again, if we had just saw this main line of storms today, this one back out here toward western Kentucky without all this crappy rain in front of it, I'm telling you guys, it would not have been a pretty afternoon in Kentucky. It would not have. So please consider yourselves lucky today. What is the percentage for? Just kind of my guesstimate at what the odds would be to see a severe warning. Um, I'm not sure where Langley, Kentucky is. Grayson County's been windy all day. I know my poor gazebo has just been just flapping in the winds today. Definitely sound like small hill in Shelbyville. I think you're having in Shelbyville, you're having the cell that I had in Radcliffe about 30 minutes ago. And that's definitely not any hail that's involved with that. It's just some incredibly heavy raindrops because the we are loaded with moisture today, loaded with moisture today, and so I mean, I'm telling you, it kind of feels like a summer thunder shower day because in the summertime those raindrops get so freaking big because there's so much moisture from the humidity. Um, so that's kind of what these remind me of is those summertime kind of what we call mesocyclone systems, which is just really heavy winds or really heavy rains and some winds. Like if you were going to Florida, if you ever been to Florida and you saw those rain showers and thunder showers down there, that's kind of what today reminds me of. Yeah, Matt, I don't really see a massive severe risk for that area, but again, I think it's damaging winds being the main priority if you see anything. What's the percentage for it? My guesstimation at odds of seeing the severe warning. London, Kentucky, once again in that circle. Damaging winds the main risk, but again, going to be kind of a struggle. Anything for Lexington? Just continued thunder showers. What I think for Scottsville? I think Scottsville. I think your severe risk is already done because you've just seen. At this point, you've seen quite a bit of rainfall. Even if it hasn't made it to the ground all the way, you've already seen at this point quite a bit of rainfall. I find it hard to believe you're going to see any real severe risk at this point. Let me see if this is updated yet. It's getting there. So see what's happening. So I know this is really hard to see, guys. I'm sorry I can't make this map any bigger. But you see what's happening. As soon as those storms move through, look at the blue that's popping up. That is a strong negative energy signal. So those are going to work to create that cap that we always talk about. So again, that kind of just points to the idea that this is probably not going to do a whole lot today in our state. What is in store for Harlan? Just some windy thunder showers possible. Yeah, the tornado up there in northern Indiana was insane. I gotta feel bad for Indiana because we know what that feels like, right? In Kentucky, the last few years of March, it's been now typically April through May, and maybe that first week in June. It's typically where Kentucky kind of sees our peak in severe weather. But the last 4 or 5 years, it's been starting in March. Heck, last year freaking started after Valentine's Day. It was ridiculous. It's like we went from winter to spring in a matter of 2 days. There was no fall, spring, and then back to winter. It just kept going and going and going in the spring. It was insane. So we know what that feels like, unfortunately. So again, that's why this year, yes, is it annoying to get a forecast wrong? Yeah, sure, but I'll take it because we know what that feels like. We know what that feels like. Okay, I'm gonna pull this over here so I can check some things real quickly. Do, 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 do. I completely forgot we were live on TikTok. I'm so sorry for those folks on TikTok. I'm still getting used to the fact that we go live on there. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. By the way, I do want to check out the new SPC risks. Yeah, they pretty much backed off of everything, even the wind risk. So yeah, pretty slight day in Kentucky. There it goes. Now it's updated. Yeah, the warning down here has gotten updated to just now include Albany into southern Kentucky. Albany maybe clipping into Kettle and Snow and whatever the heck all those small towns are called down there. So this is why we need to get us a weather camera right here. Because look, we're just in the middle of this radar gap from Albany to Burkesville, Monticello to Somerset, London, Whitley City. Just a huge radar gap right here. I see a lot of people on the TikTok asking about different states. Guys, I want to make sure we're very clear on this. I love you all to death. Thank you for tuning in. But we only cover Kentucky. So you will not hear us answer a question about a different state. By the way, that warning for Albany is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail there. Bob, thank you very much. Emma says, is the radar on the iPhone weather app? No, this is from WeatherWise. So you go to your app store and download WeatherWise. Linda, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Again, for everyone asking about what the risks are in their different backyards, again, damaging winds really, to me, in my opinion, is the only real risk tonight with the storm line. There is also a 2% tornado risk, but the SPC is backed off on any significant potential. So again, the tornado risk is dropping. For me, it's probably closer to 0%. But the SPC still has 2%, so we'll communicate 2% to you guys. But just know that the tornado risk is by far secondary. It's not the primary risk. The primary risk is damaging winds. And of course, that risk goes, I mean, it could be 60, 65 mile per hour, depending upon, kind of where the cell is and how it's kind of tracking. But if you kind of just look at the radar here, guys, there's a lot of rain. The severe risk is not that great, in my opinion. And that's why you're seeing the SPC kind of back off at this point. So everything I just said, I'm going to just call out some cities here. Everything I just said applies to Campbellsville, Smiths Grove, Breckenridge County, Munfordville. Munfordville, by the way, I don't see any severe risk for you there. Breckenridge County also don't see any severe risk for you there. No, this cell by Munfordville is severe. There's not a cell. I mean, are you talking about this one here in Albany? Yeah, that's severe, but it's not heading toward Munfordville at all. Just joined us. Sorry to ask, but what about Glasgow, Kentucky? I think damaging winds are the only real risk there with this line of storms. A matter of fact, your risk is really dropping. Is really dropping. Now the winds are going to stay with us, guys, until the front. This line is the front. So even though this line is likely not going to be severe, this back line here where my cursor is at, the winds are going to stay with us. They're going to be annoying. They're going to keep kind of spiking up. They're going to knock some tree branches down, swing some power lines around. Again, the winds are going to stick with us because this is a very strong cold front coming through. And anytime we get those, it always takes not only for the front to come through, but several hours after the front comes through for those winds to drop back down. Yeah, there's definitely some lightning out there for whoever was asking about that. Brandenburg, Louisville, really don't see much of a severe risk for you guys. Monticello, you have that severe storm tracking into your area probably in about 30 minutes. Corbin's damaging wind risk possible later on this evening for you guys. I'm not sure what Calhoun is. If you can give me a bigger city near you, I can help you out. I just mentioned Monticello. Cynthiana, just a lot of rain showers up there at this point. I don't really see a massive severe risk for you because of the rain. Same thing for Berea, but Berea, if you do see a severe cell, would be damaging winds. Same thing for Nicholasville. That's correct, Brian. Robin said, "Do you know if bad weather is anticipated this evening around Williamstown and Dry Ridge?" Not really. Again, if you're traveling, it's going to be more so the damaging winds that may shake around your car a little bit, but that's really the only real risk. Brad, don't really see much of a severe risk there for you today. I think the severe risk is kind of starting to push east now. But again, even though we're not seeing severe risk for all of Kentucky, the winds are going to still be kind of rowdy from pretty much all of the state as that cold front comes through. Corbin, Kentucky tornado risk probably 1 to 2%. Anything severe expected for Sunday at this point? I haven't even looked at Sunday yet. So again, my advice on that stuff, guys, get through one system at a time. Especially since Sunday is 5 days away. We have plenty of time to break that one down and see what's happening into that one. Calhoun, Livermore. Oh, so you're talking about that's in Western Kentucky, right? Am I remember that correctly? It's over here. Yeah, right there. Yeah, there's no severe risk there. Again, that's in Western Kentucky. No severe risk out in Western Kentucky. Don't know where Inez, Kentucky is. Guys, you guys got to help me out a little bit. It's impossible for me to know every single little town in the state. Like, for example, let me give you an example. I live in Radcliffe, right? Which is obviously a small town that I don't expect everyone to know about. So, for example, I would say Elizabethtown, which is right here, and that could help me to answer your questions a little bit faster. Just to kind of help you guys out a little bit more. Not to say that in a rude way, but if I have to sit here and go look for every single small town, I'm not going to get all your questions answered, and I want to try to answer as many for you as possible. Inez, Kentucky is in far eastern Kentucky. Then damaging winds are your main risk there. With that line as it comes through in a couple of hours. Barstown, no real risk in my opinion. What time in Pikeville? Probably closer to 7 to 8 p.m. Severe thunderstorm warning, that's correct. We have already talked about that in Albany. Assume Georgetown will have the same results as the majority of central Kentucky. That's correct, yes. After that then line on the left, are we in the clear for the possible tornadoes? Yeah, that front, I mean, even if you see a storm in front of this main line, you're probably clear at that point because any storms that happen in front of the main line are going to tank your energy down quite a bit. But yes, this main line is the cold front that's coming through. So again, if you look behind the cold front, look at it's already happening, by the way. It's already happening. Look out in northwest Kentucky toward Henderson and Morganfield. Already down into the 50s. Look at out there in eastern Kentucky into the 80s. So already a 30-degree difference that's happening because of that cold front. So again, that's the reason you're seeing all these winds, by the way. The cold front is incredibly strong. It has a nice bit of lift with it, has a very rock and jet stream above our heads, and that's really creating these winds. Is that Albany severe storm going a weekend? Probably, because there's a lot of rainfall in front of it. We'll keep an eye on it. Sean, I got you. We'll pick a different day, my friend. How are we looking in Bowling Green? I really don't see any real severe risk for you there now because you just had hours of rainfall at this point. Same thing for Versailles. Not really too much of a severe risk there, in my opinion. I haven't noticed any rotation at all. Every time I've looked, I'll check again here in a second. Moorhead, once again, damaging wind's going to be the main risk here in about an hour or two when that line gets a little bit closer to you. But again, not overall a crazy threat. Somerset, a lot of rainfall in front of that line there, so I really don't see a major severe risk for you there, and Nancy as well. Harrisburg, I don't really think there's a severe risk there as well. I'm gonna check in on this cell down here just to make sure nothing crazy is happening. Yeah, I don't see anything. Check the Hellcore out real quickly. I'm getting hungry. Oh my goodness. I really have to start eating now. That is a taller storm, so I mean, this one has potential. I'll be honest with you. It has potential from everything I'm seeing here. I'm just not seeing a whole lot with it. It's definitely producing a little bit of hell. We can see that on all the on blah, 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 on all the radar tools here. And definitely some damaging winds potentially with that as well. Now, I will say this. If this cell can kind of separate itself, it has potential to produce something, a little bit more severe, like, some stronger winds or maybe some bigger hail. Still don't think it has a real tornado risk with it. But yeah, at this point, I don't really see a whole lot with that cell. I see people asking about Richmond, London. Yeah, I see people asking about those places a lot. Again, those places, damaging winds are the main risk for both of those locations as any of these cells come through. Tornado risk is probably at about 2%. I see people asking about time frames. The severe window shuts at about 7 to 8 p.m. tonight because the sun goes down. We lose a lot of that heat and that energy. Again, 7 to 8 p.m. seems to be like the cutoff. I can't remember where McAuliffe County is. Sailorsville. Okay. Yeah, damaging winds would be the main risk out there as well. Again, probably closer to 6 to 7 p.m. as some of these kind of prefrontal cells get over closer to you. Really don't see much of a tornado risk, probably 2%. Owensboro, no risk. Owensboro, no risk. E-Town's no risk at this point. We do not cover West Virginia, my friend. Barberville, same risk as what we just talked about with Saylorsville there. Damaging winds being the main risk in a couple of hours. Yeah, the worst of it will be east of I-65, but even that's probably, I mean, it's just not a massive deal. I'm not sure where Bedford, Kentucky is. If you can give me a bigger city near you, let me check some of these comments on the TikTok chat here and make sure. People asking about Owensboro over there. Again, Owensboro is not at any real severe risk to me. I know, as Rose said, I think George forgot about us on TikTok again. I need to set like a reminder, put like a post-it note at the bottom of my monitor, just because the TikTok chat is in a separate screen from the other chats, because I don't know why, but TikTok has to be special and very different and doesn't want to include anything, so I have to have it in separate screens. Breckinridge County, no real risk in my opinion. Thank you for all the gifts on TikTok as well. I've already answered about Danville. Guys, if we keep spamming the same, I know new people coming in here, so it's not this message right here is not for the new people that are coming in, but for the people that I keep seeing repeat the same areas that I know I've already responded to, you will be suspended for a brief, like 10-minute timeout. Just kind of a heads up, because I want to make sure I'm getting as many locations and as many questions answered as possible. So when I'm seeing the same faces ask the same questions over and over again, because I see your profile pictures, so I know when you're doing it. We're gonna just suspend you for 10 minutes. Not ban, not block, but just to clean up the chat a little bit. Bedford is next to Salem and Louisville. Oh, you're talking about Bedford, Indiana? Yeah, no real risk up there. What about the Ashland, Kentucky area? Damaging winds the main risk there, with a couple of those cells that are pushing through, getting closer to you in about an hour or so. 2% tornado risk there as well. Same thing for Campbellsville. Damaging winds would be the main risk, but you have a lot of rainfall around you now, so I would imagine your risk is rapidly dropping. Is that cell you're watching in Albany moving in toward Corbin or Barberville? It would likely go more toward Barberville. Eventually, probably in a couple of hours. So we'll see what that cell looks like as it gets. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of time for it to either weaken or strengthen. All right, we're gonna suspend that person. Where are my mods at? Put user in timeout. Okay. Joe, I hope you understand, my friend. How's the weather in Alaska? I wouldn't know, my friend. Yes, they are moving east northeast. A quick trick on that, by the way, especially if you have the WeatherWise app, is if you ever see a severe warning kind of anywhere, you kind of want to just check and see real quickly kind of how these are tracking. If there's ever a severe warning, it has an arrow, and you just follow that kind of arrow or kind of how the polygon is shaped, and you'll know kind of how these are tracking. Just a quick trick for you guys. Brandenburg, you'll see a rowdy line of thunderstorms here in about an hour or so, but shouldn't be severe. You guys don't have to apologize for asking. That comment that I made was simply for the people that were spamming. That's all that was about. Because I can't get to the new comments if we're still having people spam their own cities over and over again that I've already clearly answered. Are the storms approaching Owensboro, Kentucky severe? They are not. Barbie, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Enjoy your evening. Winchester, Kentucky, that's up here, right? I'm trying to remember all these small towns, guys, but it's really hard. If you guys can give me a bigger city near you. Oh, there it is. I see it. Yeah. Don't really see much of a severe risk for you. It's been raining a lot there. Even if it hasn't made it to the ground, it's been raining there. Severe warning has been extended now. Let's go ahead and look at that. You see it popping up at the bottom portion of your screen there. It's going to be, again, for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail, so a very marginal severe thunderstorm warning now. Going to introduce for Monticello, Kentucky. Again, that's that Albany cell that we've been watching. Produce a little bit of hail and a brief gust of winds up to 60 mile per hour. Not a major ordeal. Let's see here. So these, what I have on your screen right now, is called Rotation Track Instant. Basically, this is the model trying to, or the radar trying to pick up on any rotation that may be occurring. Really, in order for this to be anything tornadic or anything like that nature, you want to see this color in red. Right now, we've really only gotten to about a yellow, which again indicates damaging winds and hail. So again, no real tornado potential within that kind of cell there, which is really the only cell of any real noteworthy value at this point. Let's do that. Slouching in my chair. I hate when I slouch. I'm trying to do better so Dr. Owsley doesn't yell at me anymore. Whew. Weatherwise question. I'm new to the app and was wondering how to do the future radar. They don't have a future radar on Weatherwise because future radars are a trick. But they do have models on here. So the real simplest way you can get something like that is to go to the models. Let me kind of show you real quickly. So this will look a little bit different on your phone, but if you go up here to the models tab, okay, I think it automatically loads the HRRRZ. So I think you automatically get kind of a future kind of reflectivity look. And this is the model to look at here. And you just come down here and hit the play button. Right? Just come down here and hit the play button. Matter of fact, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this yet, but you guys know we do tutorials for Weatherwise. They hire us to do tutorials on their YouTube channel and stuff. I just said the wrong word. I'm gonna get banned on TikTok now for saying the wild word. Oh, I'm trying to get more used to that. And we actually have a tutorial coming out soon. Once I can get a chance to finish it up, get away from all the severe weather, that's going to actually walk you through how to use models on Weatherwise. But yeah, that's the easiest way to do that. By the way, we don't run any ads on alert broadcasts like this, but I do want to say thank you real quickly to our partners. We appreciate them a ton for allowing us to be here for you guys 24/7. They're the people that fund us, so we appreciate them. Just want to say, if you see those images scrolling in the bottom left there, consider supporting those people and our partners there, because again, that's how we can be here for you guys so often. Yeah, Ernez, that's probably my next upgrade. I just freaking HVAC dying on us last month, and then we've had so many water issues. And before all that, we bought a new car because we didn't know we were gonna have all this stuff pop up, obviously. So right now, money's definitely a little bit tight, but definitely when we get some more funds in, we're going to definitely make sure I'm upgrading this boom arm, because this boom arm is irritating as crap. Still see people asking about the tornado potential, guys. I really don't see tornado potential in Kentucky tonight. Now, the SPC still technically has a 2% chance in Kentucky for tonight, but again, I just don't see that. So as it moves towards Georgetown, it'll weaken. That is correct. Just coming in, what is going on? Gusty thunder showers is what's going on, my friend. Oh my goodness, Megan, thank you for letting me know. What app is this? Is Weatherwise, for those asking on the TikTok chat. See, I remember to check in. What car did we buy? We ended up buying the hybrid Kia Carnival. I gotta say, I love it. I gotta say, I love it. I really didn't want to, because I don't like to spend money. I don't. I'm your classic like male. I don't like to spend money, but I gotta say, we love it. We love it. And with these gas prices going up, no one talk about it though. I don't want any politics in here. With the gas prices going up, having the hybrid has definitely made a massive difference. Thank you, Mahir. Appreciate that. Well, Kildren, that's the platform running those ads. I'm talking about from our partners. I can't. We are fully partnered on the Red platform, so they're going to automatically run ads. We can't help that. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. Matter of fact, let me pull this up real quickly. Let me make sure. Oh my goodness. Hang on. Um, Trying to see something here. Ah, here we go. Okay, nice. Okay, it's not gonna leak anything. I just wanted to make sure. So you'll see here on the YouTube, or I don't care anymore. TikTok can just get rid of me at this point. Here on the Red platform, it won't let us turn it off, and we have it on automatic recommended, and we have it as low as it can go. So just for those people that are complaining about the ads and the like, there's nothing I can do about it, Bubba. Pay for YouTube Premium, or become a member of the channel. How to make the app look like yours? That would have to be I would have to explain that in a whole different video. Okay, what about Northern Kentucky? Again, no real risk in my opinion at this point. You've been pretty worked over by several rounds of rain showers and thunder showers there. How bad is Lexington supposed to get? Damaging winds, the main risk there. 2% trader risk, but not very high in my opinion. Wind here in Lincoln County just had a gust around 65 mile per hour to go in the house. John, thank you for that report there. I appreciate that. How is South Christian County for the storms coming through? South of Hopkinsville, no severe risk in Western Kentucky tonight. I can't find you on. It should be in the chats there. I don't know. Louisville won. Sorry, I just had to check that real quickly. I'm sorry. That's the first time I've ever done that. They're playing in the ACC tournament. I wanted to check. They were struggling a little bit, but Louisville won, so we're good. Louisville won, so we're good. Yes, someone asked, and there is still technically a tornado watch out in yellow. There has not even been any warning there for several hours. So I would imagine it expires in an hour. They're just going to let it run and probably just allow it to expire on its own at this point. But again, I don't see a real tornado risk in Kentucky tonight. Caitlin, in your area, your severe risk should be done. You've had several hours of rain at this point. I don't really see that happening there. How about Summerside? Do we have a severe risk? Technically, yes. My eyes, probably not, because you just had too much rainfall at this point. But it's not impossible. Julie, thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. By the way, anybody sending stars, thank you very much for that. I appreciate you. I can't see it right now, but thank you for anyone that may be sending those. I'm so sorry that I haven't been able to thank you guys. Are there any concerns for Owensboro? No. What about Ohio County? No concern there as well. Scott County, not much of a risk there, in my opinion, at this point. Raining and winds are bad in Stanford. Will Stanford get bad? Not in my opinion. I think you've just been pretty worked over. Damaging winds are the main risk there. Lexington, Monticello, people asking about those places. Again, damaging winds the main risk in both of those places as well with these cells that are coming through, but the severe risk does look low. Princeton, Kentucky, no severe risk there as well. Same thing for Richmond that we just said for Lexington and Monticello. Damaging winds the main risk. Man, those winds are howling out there. So again, I want to point out I live in Ratcliffe, which is just north of E-Town right here. No storm here, but man, those winds are coming through. Barstown, no real risk there in my opinion. No risk in Grand Rivers with severe weather. Cynthia, I really don't see any risk for you at this point because you just had several hours of rain showers and thunder showers. I appreciate that kind comment offered up on the Red platform. See a lot of people asking about the future radar. They don't have a future radar on WeatherWise, and I also just despise future radar. But here is the latest from the HRRR model, and you can see this for yourself here. So here it is valid for right now, and then here it is for 6 p.m. Yeah, 6 p.m. Right? No, That would be right. That's gotta be 7 p.m. 6 or 7 p.m. You get it. I can't see. I can't tell. Plus 2 hours from. Oh yeah, that would be 6 p.m. So you see that main line is now approaching McKee, London, Somerset, Monticello. A couple of cells up there toward Maysville. Then the main line comes through. It's just not. It's just not a big deal. It's just not. A couple of tougher rain pockets in there. Maybe some gusty winds, but guys, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Black Adam, thank you very much. I appreciate that. A couple people asking about London, Kentucky again. Damaging winds, the main risk there when that line gets to you in about an hour. No risk in Dawson Springs. Hartford, don't see much of a risk there for you. West Liberty, damaging winds, the main risk there. Why didn't Michael Brown play today for Louisville? Back spasms again, I guess. But if you're having back spasms at 18 years old, something's not right. Especially as often as he's having it. That's just my opinion. Olivia says, sorry, just joined us. Princeton looking okay. The winds are going crazy. Yeah, the winds are going crazy, but no severe risk there for you guys. No severe risk from Bardstown to Georgetown. No real severe risk in Hodgeville as well. How fast are these storms moving? A real good cheat on that. I believe they're about 50 mile an hour, but you can read the bulletin here. 44 knots, about 54 mile per hour. Cave City don't really see a severe risk there. I've already answered London quite a few times, so I'm going to take a break from that one. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate you. Paris, Kentucky don't really see much of a severe risk there. Yes, I know we have a tornado watch active. It's been active for about 5 hours now, and there has been no warnings. Diana, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Stacy, thank you, my friend. Any tornado risk in London? Again, it's about a 1 to 2% risk. Not very high at all. Damaging winds are the main priority of concern. Lexington, Kentucky, damaging winds are the main risk with a couple of cells that are moving through there. But no real massive severe risk in my opinion there. MVR, thank you for the update out of Stanford. I appreciate you. Do you think the gap between the storms going along 127 now and the cold front? I don't even know where 127 is, my friend. If you can give me the city you're near, I can let you know. But if you're going to, let me see if I can get this from context here. Do you think the gap between the storms going along 127 now and the cold front is going to leave enough time for any reintensification? Oh, okay. I see what you're asking. And the answer is no. Tracy, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Gene, yeah, I think there's a little something going on. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to get them fresh for the tournament. I have no idea what's going on with that. Albany, that severe cell is exiting your area now. Obviously, that produced 60 mile per hour winds and quarter-sized hail. Your severe risk is now over. Corbin, Kentucky, again, damaging winds, the main risk there. Any bad tornado risk in Georgetown, Kentucky? No. Glasgow, damaging winds, the main risk there. There is no tornado warning in Kentucky. Jordan, please stop spamming that or I'm going to ban you. Monticello is getting lots of rain and wind. Mandy, thank you for the update there. What about Williamsburg, Kentucky? Again, the damaging winds are going to be the main risk there when that line gets to you in about an hour or two. Greenville is essentially no risk. Mason says that's correct, in my opinion. Too much rainfall around that area. You probably already said it, but I'm just getting on. What about Barron County and Hart County? No real severe risk there, in my opinion. Now, I do want to point out once again, remind you folks, when I say no severe risk, that doesn't mean you're not going to see a storm. You'll probably still see storms. They're just not going to be severe. And by the way, we will keep the winds with us until tomorrow morning. So unfortunately, get used to the winds, get used to hearing them. It's a cold front coming through. We know the cold fronts usually pack a lot of winds with them. Doesn't mean things are going to go suddenly sideways. Just know those winds are going to be with us for a little bit there. That's why that wind advisory is out. Radar on the WeatherWise app doesn't show radar. When I click on it, it shows weird boxes. Maybe I have to pay to see the radar. No, that's not correct. So again, I pull back up our full screen here. When you go on to WeatherWise, right, and there's nothing clicked. Let's say I don't have a radar on. You're just seeing this. When you click radar up there at the top, you got to click one of those boxes to turn on the radar site. So what you would do, for example, if I lived in Bowling Green, I would go down here to the Oak Grove radar, turn that on, and then it will turn on the high resolution radar. The reason that a radar doesn't automatically pop up when you do that is because these are high resolution radars. So they see a lot more HD. They see a lot more fine details. And they're way better than your normal radar apps that you have on your phone. But you just have to go in there and toggle them on individually. If you don't want to do that, you can just simply hit the composite mode, and then go to your drop down box and hit reflectivity, although it automatically should be on that. And this is more of your classic kind of phone radar look right here. Okay, and this is also like nationwide, so you don't have to worry about turning on a radar tower or anything like that. So again, when I'm actually analyzing storms and trying to see different fine details, I'll click on radar and go through. When we're just sitting here chatting, I'll have it on composite. What area has the worst risk? The more east you go, the more east you go. Caitlin, no real severe risk there, in my opinion. Why are you all typing in all caps in the chat? Everyone take a breath. It's okay. This is not a big deal tonight, in my opinion. Heck. Grayson County, no real severe risk in that area, for my opinion, or in my opinion, I should say. Sorry, I got to spit my cough drop out real quick. That thing was just refusing to dissolve. Yeah, no real risk in Owensboro for severe weather there. Let me check the TikTok here. Will the train to watch end at 5 p.m. still? Yes, that's correct. Yes, you will see a storm in Ohio County, but it won't be severe. Scottsville, you really don't have a severe risk in that area. In Williamsburg, you do have a damaging wind risk with that line as it comes through. But again, it's going to be very low on the scale. How does Madisonville, Kentucky look? Just a rowdy thunderstorm moving through there. No severe risk at all. That line is dying. This main line, a part of the front, guys, that looks mean. That thing's dying. Is there a platform where we could send you photos or of hell or other stuff? Yeah, you can send them to any of our DM boxes on any of our platforms. We're working on creating a special platform for that. Dude, my wife sent me something. Hang on. I thought it was something important. It's not. Rineyville, no real severe risk. Berea, damaging winds are your main risk when those cells get to you. The second line is not concerning at all. That line is dying down. Let's go Reds. Yeah, I hope we have a much better year. I'm so tired of seeing them guys lose. Livermore, damaging winds the main risk, but again, I don't really see a crazy risk for anyone tonight. What about Meade County? No real severe risk there. Just a rowdy thunderstorm about to move through there. So no overnight storms. No, there will be not. There are no overnight storms expected. Just the winds. Stay with us. I'm gonna check on this cell toward Monticello. Just make sure she's not doing anything funny. No funny business happening. Yeah. I don't see anything there. I don't see anything there. It's a little hell core, maybe 50 to 60 mile per hour winds going on. I'd imagine that warning's probably going to be allowed to expire. And at this point, there's just so much rain. I just like I just see a hard time seeing any real severe risk for anyone in Kentucky tonight. Okay, at this point, I think I'm gonna take a break. And matter of fact, if we don't really see a whole lot of warnings, I probably won't be back live here with you. We've been live for about a little bit over an hour here, guys, and I've said it probably 100 times at this point. I just don't see this being a big deal for us at this point. At one point, yes, I thought this may be a bigger deal for us. It has not worked out that way, which I'm very thankful for. Mainly thanks to the rain and thunderstorms that are occurring in Tennessee. Those are blocking some of that better storm fuel from getting to Kentucky. Now, I will say this: I will do this for you guys, so you guys can kind of answer some of your own questions here. Please, please, please know where you're at on the map, because that's going to help you real quickly. because at this point, because of the little cough that I have and stuff, my voice is starting to go, and I'm not going to keep pushing it for storms that really aren't severe. Now, please, know where you're at on the map. I'm going to circle this area here. This is really the only area in Kentucky where I think we could see a severe warning at some point in the next 2 to 3 hours. And that severe warning will likely be for damaging winds. I don't think it's a widespread thing. Matter of fact, most of you in that orange circle will not see a severe warning. This is mainly going to be for that Monticello cell and any cell that may pop up on the northern side of this line. So that's really it. But this is the only area in that orange where a severe warning or two may be possible. That severe warning or two likely going to be for quarter-sized hail, which is very marginal, and for up to 60-mile-per-hour winds, which is also more on the marginal side. So again, anywhere in that orange circle, if you're outside of that orange circle, you will still see thunderstorm activity, especially as that main front line comes through that we talked about over the next couple of hours. But again, no real severe risk with that because we've seen several rounds of thunder showers come through. Once again, that activity into Tennessee has helped to block any real severe fuel from coming up to us in Kentucky. So again, that main line, while it looks a little bit mean and may get a little bit strong at times, I think it avoids severe criteria. So again, that's where we're at with things. If you missed anything in this broadcast or just now hopping on here, it will be available for you to watch on playback. We will continue to do post updates for you as well. But guys, I just don't think this is a big deal at this point. We've sat here for an hour watching the radar here with you guys. I've answered probably over 400 or 500 questions at this point about locations across Kentucky. And at this point, I think it's just very clear. Damaging winds are the main risk. There is technically a 2% tornado risk. But guys, again, that seems like a struggle for these storms today. So again, I'm not concerned. I don't think you guys should be all that concerned as well. Just make sure, of course, you have your backup plans in place and have a way to receive, some alerts in case anything goes crazy. But again, not a major ordeal in my opinion. So I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast. We appreciate all the shares and likes so much. Thank you guys again. And until next time, stay safe, Kentucky.